What's going on, Imperials? It's Halloween, a time of year for cool costumes. And while some of you may be donning your favorite pocket monsters, certain Pokemon also make habit of dressing up every now and then in the games. So, I thought I'd take a look at the best Pokemon disguises and costumes. Number 6. Shellman. Shellman and Carablast are two weird bug guys that have to be traded to evolve. Once they do, they swap motifs, and Escavalier looks ready for some serious jousting. So, while some might argue that his costume is better, Escavalier is a steel type, meaning it's not a costume at all, but rather a part of its anatomy. Shellman is decidedly not a steel type, which means his armor is just for show. Well, it can actually protect him, but not to the degree that real armor would. The little visor especially ties the whole thing together. So, whether Shellman is trying to dress up as Escavalier, or just as a knight in general, all around it's a pretty solid costume. Number 5. Mega Slowbro. This water psychic type really went all out with their costume. Restrictive costumes are the worst, but Slowbro is committed to its craft. He has put in a lot of work into this highly elaborate Shelter costume. Can we just go ahead and call it Mega Shelter at this point, because Slowbro didn't really change much at all. But what's more is that this is Shelter's weird look, but even more hyped up. This is clearly not a Shelter, but for some reason, Pokemon have stuck to their story, so we all have to play along at this point. It's always nice when people's costumes enhance on an already outlandish premise, but Slowbro's Shelter costume really takes the cake. Number 4. The Intimidators. Some Pokemon intimidate opponents simply by virtue of being colossal, scary monsters. And that's great for them, whatever works. But some Pokemon are not so lucky, and have to gain advantages in other ways. Enter the Fake Eyes team. Masquerain and Arbok both have patterns on their bodies that resemble giant, angry eyes, just in case. Masquerain is even referred to as the Eyeball Pokemon. These markings make the Pokemon seem bigger and more imposing, just like such markings do in real life. They're also helpful in warding off predators. So, as disguises go, evil-looking eyes that give you an advantage isn't half bad. Number 3. Shuppet. This one may just be speculation, but did you ever have the sneaking suspicion that Shuppet looks familiar? And not just because he's everywhere in Pokemon Go right now. Some have theorized that Shuppet could in fact be a Rotom wearing a Reaper cloth. The physical similarities are undeniable, and the mysterious cloth could easily insulate the little prankster to suppress his electric typing, leaving behind only the ghost type. Maybe Banette is a Rotom form of him taking over a toy. Or maybe that's where all the discarded ghost parts of the forms go after they've been switched out for other typings from Platinum onwards. As Pokemon theories go, I've heard worse. But what's interesting to me is that the Reaper Cloth is what's used to turn Dusclops into Dusknoir. I always felt that these lines were tied together in some way, more than just being ghost types next to each other in the same decks. They seemed inexplicable counterparts to one another. So, if the Reaper Cloth, used by one, is truly responsible for creating the other, that only strengthens their bond. So it may not be true, but if it is, Shuppet is a pretty great costume for Rotom. Now all that's left to wonder is what would happen if you gave Rotom a Banetite. Number 2. Ditto and Zoroark. This one may seem like a cop-out, but come on! These Pokemon live for disguises. Ditto is known for having some slight mishaps with the face, but other than that, it's able to perfectly copy the opponent's form. Zoroark is a master of illusion, with his ability completely replicating the appearance of another. Can you imagine turning into a realistic copy of any Pokemon you wanted? You'd never have to worry about a costume again. And Ditto can get the Imposter ability, which automatically changes them into the opponent upon switching into battle. There are endless jokes about Ditto taking over the world by simply being everything and everyone, which wouldn't be possible if it weren't so heavily emphasized on transforming into others. Both of these Pokemon are masters of disguise, and they more than deserve their costumed commendations. Number 1. Mimikyu. Was there ever any doubt? This is the only Pokemon that is actually wearing a full costume. We don't even know what it really looks like. Not to mention that it's the only one with the literal ability, Disguise. But more than that, it made its costume by hand. Sure, it had a basis to go off of, but that is some seriously dedicated cosplay. Also, if the disguise breaks, it will stay up all night to fix it. That is adorably heartbreaking. Everything about this Pokemon is. It dresses like Pikachu to be loved by others, and pretend to be something else for a while. And really, isn't that why we all dress up too? To have fun and imagine the possibilities of what if? This Pokemon clearly encapsulates the spirit of that and rocks the costume the absolute best like no one ever was. So, those are my top Pokemon disguises and costumes. Which ones are your favorites? Let me know down in the comments. Also be sure to leave a like, share this video, and subscribe so that you too can become an Imperial today. And we'll see you around next time!
Somewhat impressive. Now you've reached the plateau, but not yet a hero. Are you ready to meet and defeat the elite? Can I expect survival against your rival? And remember,